a strong proponent for individualism. I also do believe that there is a collective responsibility to pretty much everything that happens, and that we're a giant mechanism that works. So while I definitely believe that the very best way to hold freedoms, not just for yourself, but for the people around you, is to be as individualistic as you possibly can, I also believe that there is definitely collective responsibility. It's a very complex thing. Our reality is incredibly complex. And so, one of the ways that I definitely feel that the collective is really, really creating an environment of tyranny is that the collective, each individual person, these particular days, this generation, is really going out of their ways to try to find fault with people. Although there is also a disturbing trend where some people's issues and some of people's sins are being covered and hidden and not looked at or examined, while other people's sins are being very, very scrutinized to an extreme extent. And I really believe that criticism and really, really nitpicking people and really nitpicking the past is really a sign of a sort of a legalistic, sort of religious mentality. So I do believe that as individuals move away from grace and forgiveness, and they start holding people to the law and trying to create laws. Ayn Rand used to say that in order to really make criminals, you have to make laws, and the only way you can have control over people is if you can make them a criminal. And so in today's society, I definitely see where not only are people so underneath scrutiny that their rights and their freedoms are being taken away, but the power of the accusation is becoming completely in the forefront of all battles. Who can accuse the other side the most? And I think that this takes away from our humanity as people, because there is nobody who's perfect. Everybody makes a mistake. And so I think that there's a real tyranny that society, consisting of many individuals, is embracing, and that is the tyranny of the accusation. And you can go all the way through history, and you can find different times where this power of accusation has been used to attack specific individuals and specific nations. We completely understand now in our modern times that what happened during World War II under Nazi Germany was really, really, really a crime against humanity, to attack so many different kinds of people, not just the Jews, but homosexuals and, people of color and everything else. I mean, there was definite crimes against humanity. But when you look at World War II and you see how they started and how they gained power and what did they do? I mean, they took the Jewish people as a nation and they made them into criminals. And they made them worse criminals than anybody else. And that's how they eventually took their rights away. And we see those kinds of things happening throughout society right now. We see that happening with celebrities. We see that happening with political figures. We see that happening with political groups. We see that with people who take vaccines or don't take vaccines. We've seen that even before in the past with sexual orientation, and even things like with abortion. We see all society who has basically collectively lost their mind, who is trying to basically make the other side more of a criminal than the other. And that really, 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 really bothers me. Because even if you were to try to justify one side, they would then turn around and try to accuse the next side. So I'm very, very frustrated right now with both Democrats and Republicans, because we have Democrats who are really, really trying to accuse the Republicans. There's a lot of very demeaning behavior that Democrats take against the Republicans. We have Republicans who are really, really fighting in a really loud, noisy way against the Democrats and some of the strange ideas that they're coming up with, all the while they're still maintaining in a hypocritical way their own means of oppression against people, and especially, in my opinion, against women. So you have the Democrats right now who are trying to enforce mask mandates. They're trying to enforce vaccines. And the Republicans are saying, this is my body, this is my choice. But at the same time, you have a state like Texas who is really, really trying to crack down on women who have abortions. So you see the spirit of accusation that's going back and forth, and you see a lot of people trying to gain power over the other side through the power of accusations. And in the meantime, you see individuals who are completely getting wiped out as the power of accusation just spreads through society. You know, we have Twitter wars, and we have Facebook wars, and we have discussions about what criminals people are and the mistakes they've made, and we theorize and we gossip and we conspire. You know, we find all kinds of conspiracy theories against people, and the only thing that we're doing is really just, we're just really pointing out our own humanity. And the very best thing we could do is just accept the fact that there is nobody who's perfect. Let's take away all the unnecessary laws. Let's take them all away. Let's take away the abortion mandates. Let's take away the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates. Let's take away any of the unnecessary rules and just let people live in freedom. Because as many laws as there are, that's how many criminals you're going to end up having. So any unnecessary laws that doesn't have directly to do with me intruding on somebody else's personal property, it's one thing. It's absolutely one thing if I were knowingly sick and I went around and I coughed on people. That's definitely, that's really skirting on things, because I don't want to impose myself on people. You should never violate other people's rights to live or to be healthy or whatever else. But at the same time, just imposing law after law after law after law, the only purpose in that is to create criminals. And the only reason why you would ever do that is to become a tyrant yourself. So whether you're looking at the Republicans or the Democrats, you see a collective insanity towards a lust to control, and a lust to be God in other people's lives, and a lust to punish people, to punish those who have an abortion, or to punish those people who don't wear a mask, or to punish people who won't take their vaccine. And it's really just a lust to become a Hitler, to become a despot, to become a dictator in the lives of other people. And I personally don't believe that should be happening. I don't think people should be telling what other people need to do, because nobody has the full story of someone else's life. You have no idea if an abortion is just the right thing to do. You don't have any knowledge if somehow, wearing a mask is a good idea or it's a bad idea. You just don't know. So I'm annoyed by the hypocrisy. I'm annoyed by people who are creating laws. I'm annoyed by one side attacking the other side and doing the same exact thing, but in a different way. And it's all just that humanity right now has gone into a collective craze to try to be God in each other's lives, and that's insanity. And I personally believe in God. I personally am a Christian, and I personally believe that the entire message of Christianity is that there isn't any more loss, that Jesus died for everyone's sins. We're all sinners. No one's better or worse than anybody else is, and we all need that forgiveness, and we all need that grace, which means we all need to be able to receive good things in our lives, whether we deserve it or not. And I really believe that this desire to punish is really, really a true evil in all of us.